Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Hanji,
Sat Sri Akal. I'm going to try today to just give an outline. Topic already, so people already know a lot anyway. And Dev's invitation was something I couldn't resist. I can't do as much seva as I'd like to do, so it felt as though it was just something nice for the new secretary to say, yes, I'll do this. But I'm just very honoured, obviously, to be able to speak about Guru Arjun Devji, who is an extraordinary figure. And Arjun has very kindly outlined some very key points, as has the previous speakers. And I mean, obviously, one has to acknowledge the extraordinary level of pain and difficulty that he went through. But I'm going to try today just to say a few words about his inspiration. And so, as you know, I mean, one of the things that Guru Arjun Devji is known for is the Sukhmani Sahib prayer. It's translated as pearl of peace or mind of peace. And throughout my talk, you'll get a sense that I'm a very translated man. So very much I was born here, grew up here. English is obviously my first language. And I'm very much like that younger generation here. So please take my speech within that kind of context. So the composition was under the Vedi tree, which is beside the sacred pool of Ramsar in Amritsar, which we've mentioned. The Sukhmani Sahib itself is over 2,000 lines long, and is a hymn that extols the importance of the name or Naam. One of my first encounters with the richness of its text was many years ago now, so I'm going to tell you a personal story. Mum, my mother Surjit, always has been a very key member of the Gurdwara Sahib, and we were invited to Dara Arts in the 90s to teach some of the actors and actresses the Sukhmani Sahib prayer. Jatinder Verma, who was the artistic director, really wanted them to learn, some of the depth of Punjabi poetry. And Mum taught them Tu Thakur, Tu Peardas. And it was wonderful to watch and hear. Everyone in the group of actors and actresses was mesmerized by its depth and power. And the following is a translation, because I know that some people here maybe don't know it that well, maybe the younger ones, and I know it's being recorded. So a translation is, you are our sovereign, to you we pray, our body and life are your gifts, you are our mother, you are our father, and we are your children. Your grace is the source of our countless joys, no one knows your extent, higher than the highest is our creator, all existence is perfectly based on your thread, all that happens is by your will, your reality, your dimensions, you alone know, says Nanak the slave, I offer myself to you. It's a very beautiful translation by Nikki Gurinder Kaur Singh, who's done some beautiful translations of Guru Granth Sahib, so I used that translation. I mean, in these lines, we can really see how the Guruji is conveying the power of the Almighty, both as mother and father, and that we are the children. It's an extraordinary image. If this is the power that informs the Guruji's, it is this power that informs his life and teachings. And I now outline some of the key achievements. Some of those have already been said. I mean, most importantly, one of his biggest achievements is the building, and it's got different names, as the lady pronounced Darbar Sahib. Some people may know it as Harmandir Sahib, or even the Golden Temple. And I think in the spirit of true Sikhi, there is that sense that all things are accepted to a point. It's not that we have just one thing. So I think there's a richness in that. His tasks were quite important in making Harmandir Sahib happen. And he worked with this Muslim divine, Mian Mir of Lahore, to help lay the foundation stones. Secondly, instead of building Harmandir Sahib on a high plinth, as was the traditional custom, the Guruji had it built on a lower level in the surrounding land, so that worshippers would have to go down the steps to enter it. Thirdly, and again breaking the tradition, he had it designed so that where normally a temple would have only one entrance, Guruji had Harmandir Sahib open on all four sides. So these architectural features are symbolic of this new faith that was emerging in India, and is a obviously seminal moment in India's history with the arrival of Sikhi. And these extolling of virtues of humility is very key to being a Sikh. and also this idea of being open and welcome to all. And so that's actually practically made in the most sacred site of the Sikhs. It's actually built into it. In addition, Guruji raised money for Harmandir Sahib. Sikhs were asked to donate a tenth of the income, and he helped finance that construction of the temple. And the town in which Harmandir Sahib is built, as we know now, is the town that has been given the name Amritsar, the pool of nectar. There is a tank, we know, filled with water. And as others have relayed, the sense that, like Banaras is for the Hindu devotee, and Mecca and the Kaaba is for the Muslim devotee, so for the Sikhs, very important, well, the most important place of pilgrimage is going to Harmandir Sahib or Darbar Sahib. We can see that Guruji was committed to what today we would refer to as interfaith dialogue and interaction, and I know our Gurdwara Sahib and many of our secretaries and so much of the Sangha here have done such good work on trying to continue this tradition of interfaith dialogue. So again, very much a lesson learned from Guruji himself. He was also instrumental in designing and leading the fundraising of the Harmandir Sahib and invested into this vision of his followers to be reminded to be humble and to make the Gurdwara a place where all must be welcome. And again, I think very much I pay credit to obviously the people here who run this Gurdwara in terms of their leadership, and we have the wonderful photos of the previous management committees. And each in their own humble way, I think, have been inspired by Guruji's example of hard work and of fundraising, and I think that in itself is a great boon that the community has been given. That we have Gurujis like Guru Arjun Dev Ji to inspire. In those difficult days when you're on your own, having to work hard, doing your accounts or whatever else you have to do, that light is still very much there. Guruji also did other work, building Taran Taran, the Pool of Salvation, again has been mentioned, and this again had very much those healing qualities. His life showed a tireless dedication, as we know, and a drive to build and make the land and the people flourish. In 1595, Guruji returned to Amritsar and found that his older brother had these pretensions. So again, this is the bit that's also been relayed before, this idea of the brother trying to come up with another anthology. But Guruji realized the danger of these spurious scriptures gaining currency, and he made extraordinary efforts to bring together the different hymns that he had, and persuaded Mohan, the son of Guru Amar Das, to give him the collection of writings of the first 9 gurus. He sent disciples to scour the country for copies that might have been made. He also welcomed contributions from different sects of Hindus and Muslims for consideration. And then he installed himself by the Ramsar tank and really put to the task of putting this Adi Granth together. So we have there some very key points of Guruji's work. So we can see how quick thinking Guruji is, outsmarting his older brother, and undertaking this extraordinary task of compiling these hymns. And most importantly, I think, for many of us, this extraordinary element of Sikhi is this welcoming of different sects of Muslims and Hindus. And the Guru Granth Sahib is an extraordinary text. It's a living, as you know, Guru as well, but I'm using the English word. And the idea that there are so many different contributions in it, which again is extremely something to be proud of and a great lesson. In August 1604, the work was completed and the Adi Granth was formally installed in Harmandir Sahib, and Bhai Buddha, forgive my pronunciation, was appointed as the first Granthi. The Granth reflected the faith of Guru Nanak, and apart from the writings of the Gurus, it contained a selection of compositions, as we say, of poet saints of northern India, and included those of untouchables as well. Its hymns were of a high poetic order, its language intelligible to illiterate peasants, its ethics simple and direct. In the Granth, we have the Guru's teachings, Sukhmani Sahib, as I referred to earlier. And as I've said, I wanted to just share a little bit more about my own personal interaction with the Guru Granth Sahib. So I've always watched my mother's devotion to the Gurbani, and it's been a great source of inspiration for me. From a young age, she learned the daily prayers in India, and I've witnessed her how much comfort and strength they have given her. For me, there is some regret that I too cannot benefit in the same way, but I'm reminded again from the Sukhmani Sahib that opens these lines, thus le pache pave. and powerfully encourages us towards gratitude. So here again, another lovely translation. The 10 gifts we receive, we quickly forget. For the one that we miss, we lose our faith. What if the one gave us nothing? What if the 10 gifts were taken back? Then what would we do? Helpless before our sovereign. We must always pay homage. Those who are drawn to the divine sweetness are full of joy and peace. Those who are blessed who live by the will. Those are blessed who live by the will. Says Nanak, they win all the treasures of the world. So there are many extraordinary lessons in just this piece of writing. And for me, it's a reminder of how we can constantly focus on what we don't have as opposed to what we do. And this is a particularly cruel affliction. I am grateful I have gained an appreciation of the Gurbani by its translation, and having grown up in a musical family, I'm able to enjoy Kirtan. So that's my gratitude. By way of conclusion, I would just like to say the following. The Guru became the most quoted poet of the Punjab. His songs were on people's lips. His 25 years ministry laid the seed that Guru Nanak Ji had set in motion. His teachings embodied the hymns of his successors, and the Sikhs in turn have become conscious of the fact that they were neither Hindu or Muslim, but formed a third divinity, again repeated by previous speakers. The Guru's death was a turning point in the history of the Punjab. He was the embodiment of many things that Guru Nanak had preached and stood for. He brought Hindu and Muslim together in creating this scripture and Harmandir Sahib, whose foundation, as I've said before, was laid by a Muslim, and the structure was built by Hindus and Sikhs. Now all these years later, I'll just conclude with this. Now, all these years later, when I reflect on the experience of the Para Art Studio, as people of all faiths and none learned a small part of Sukhmani Sahib prayer under Mum's expert guidance, I can understand why everyone was so taken by the Guru's words. In my own small way, I can now record with admiration what a profound effect Guruji had all these generations later on communities here. So thank you. Please forgive me for many mistakes. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,